All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. It is time to skull with the enemy, and I'm here with Titans Rossi from the Titan Upload Network. How are you doing?
Man, I don't know if I would necessarily call us the enemy. I think I get it, believe me. But it's tough in Titans territory right now. It's tough being a Titans fan. It's been like this for the past few years. This year I think the wool was pulled over our eyes a little bit because there was a lot of hype. Like you think in the beginning of the season, like, there's always hype in the off season, right? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
always added hype that's not reality. And we all know that. But this off season for the Titans, you're thinking, okay, we hire a new coach. But then they go out and they trade for L'Jarius Sneed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go pick up Chidobe Awuzie from the Bengals. Then they pick up Calvin Ridley with the big contract. They pick up Tony Pollard to replace Henry, which Pollard's been great. He's been the only really good thing on offense. Ridley's picked it up, but it's like, they kind of like got us a little more. I think the hope was a little more, the expectation was a little higher than it needed to be. And as you can see now, the Titans they're just not a good football team. It's just not coming together. Levis is terrible. I'm sure we'll get into some of that type of stuff,
Well,
but
it's funny you mentioned it because we're kind of the reverse. We had no expectations. Everybody picked us to finish last and be one of the worst teams in the NFL,
right.
and all of a sudden we're this really good team. So um, we're kind of the opposite of what you just said right there. Let's talk with your new head coach, Brian Callahan, coming over from Cincinnati. What's been your impression of him through the first 9 games?
I think if I had to sum it up in one word, rookie, and he's been a coach for a long time. Like he's coached some good quarterbacks, he's been a part of some offenses. But I think a lot of people before the season started kind of, put away the fact that he was not the play caller in Cincinnati. And I think a lot of people were like, they made a lot of excuses. The media in Nashville really pumped this whole narrative up of, oh, well, and this might be true that, oh, well, he had just as much to do with the play calling as, what's his name in Cincinnati, the head coach.
Oh, Zach
I can't
Taylor.
remember his name. Zach Taylor, yeah. He had this and he had that, and he was the reason that Joe Burrow was just, hit it off, and
Mm-hmm.
he was the reason this other quarterback and that and this quarterback, and he's going to make Will Levis this guy and all this stuff. And I think that he's just green, like he's green as far as a head coach goes. A lot of first time head coaches in the league this year are not doing well. It's expected, but like I said, I think we had too high hopes as Titans fans because of some of the moves they made. I don't dislike Brian Callahan. I'm not really sold on him so far. Um, and there's a few things why, but I'm trying to take this first season as kind of like just giving him a pass. You know what I mean? Just
I was going to
because
ask you.
you're kind of thrown into a situation with Will Levis. I don't think Will Levis is his guy. Um, I don't expect Levis to be around next year. If he is, he's going to be a backup. I think, right now it's Tankathon City, and I think the Titans are best served to tank. I mean, I really
Mm.
do. I think it's right. I've never been a tanker, never been that type of fan, but I think right now for the team, it's looking grim at quarterback. And if you're not going to get a guy like Shadur Sanders, because he's really the only, some would say, the only worthy like top quarterback that's going to be like a top five pick out there, then I don't know, man. You go another direction. Maybe you get a bridge quarterback. You bring in Kirk
Sam
Cousins,
Darnold.
Darnold. I don't know how many. I guess Cousins has a contract in Atlanta. I'm not sure what his contract is like.
It's a few years, yeah.
I wanted Cousins. I wanted Cousins this offseason. I really did because I thought Cousins could be a good bridge quarterback. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Yep.
and I thought he could be a quarterback that you could sit Levis behind. You could give him some more time in the oven. And Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I don't know exactly how Vikings fans feel about Cousins. I feel like it's kind of like the same effect that Ryan Tannehill was with the Titans. Like, he can be great, but is he going to take you there?
Mm-hmm. That's
I don't
exactly
know.
what it is. You summed it up perfectly. That's pretty much, he had his supporters, he had his haters, and that was kind of the big thing. He's never going to win the big game. So
Right.
let's get into Will Levis a little bit more. Obviously, you're not a fan right now. When did you? Is it safe to say you gave up on him, and when did that happen?
I mean, this season, I think that, and like I said, I guess you could ask me, you could say, well, if you're giving Callahan a pass, why not give Will Levis a pass? Um, and the reason is I have eyeballs, like I can see. I've
Mm-hmm.
been watching football for a long time. I've never claimed to be an X's and O's guy. Like, I'm not that type of guy. I'm not that type of content creator. Like, I played backyard football growing up. Like, I've never claimed to be like some expert football aficionado like some people out there. But I think, I have eyes, I have common sense. And the guy just, he just doesn't have it, man. Like, um, number one quarterback in the NFL to throw to his first reads. Last game was much better. Like, he didn't throw an interception, which was amazing. He didn't have a meme. It was the first game all season. Will Levis didn't have a meme somewhere.
Those
I
first two
don't know
this
if
year
you
are
saw.
great.
Right. I don't know if you saw the one meme of him on the sideline, and he's like, you know,
I remember
um,
the flying one, and then him on the ground and knees or something in the field.
oh my gosh, dude, it's been an embarrassment. I mean, we should have known with the Mayo thing, right? And
Yeah, right.
eating the banana pills um but and he's been the same since college, man. Like, this has been the same Will Levis. Like, he transferred from Penn State, went to Kentucky. He was the same in Kentucky, man. Like, that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason he wasn't drafted in the first round, you know? Like, that's the reason people kept kind of putting him on the shelf, is because he's making the same mistakes that he did in college. And I just don't see him being a franchise quarterback. Like, why continue on for the Titans? Like, move on, see what you can do. If you end up getting a top 3 pick in a draft, maybe you end up with like a Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'm not sure on Shedeur,
Mm-hmm.
but he seems to be like, if you look at his type of play, he seems to kind of have that Callahan type of fit, as far as like how they run their offense there. So I don't know, man. I'm out on Will. God bless him. I hope you do well wherever. But I'm out on him, man. Like, I'm just over Will Levis.
That being said, do you expect him to be the quarterback the rest of the way, assuming he's healthy, and then maybe that helps your tankathon? I mean, is that what you want to see?
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless, like, you need to start him. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said, the last game he was a lot better, much better. Now he got sacked 7 times, so that's
Mm-hmm.
if I'm the Vikings, I'm like Friday nights, blitz every down,
Yeah.
like, just try and pressure him, get him rattled. If I'm the Vikings, that's what I'm doing. That's my game plan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who's your guys? Van Ginkel? I've never heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of this guy. But he's
Van
got 6
Ginkel,
sacks. Um,
Grenard,
yeah, Grenard. I know Grenard. He played didn't he play
Houston.
with Texas Houston? Yeah.
Yep.
Jones the second. I mean, you guys got some guys that can get to the quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Um and you're first in the league in interceptions, which that bodes well
Mm-hmm.
playing a guy like Will Levis. So I don't have high hopes for this game. I think he is going to start the rest of the season. I feel like he should regardless, because you got to see what you have in him. Like, can the kid improve? Like, for me, he would have to really light it on fire for me to say, okay, let's roll with him next season.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about the future of this franchise, direction it's heading. You got the head coach. I mean, what other building blocks do you guys have? I mean, how far away do you think you are, and how you're feeling is where this team's at in the immediate future coming up here?
Right. I think we got some good pieces. There are some positive things, believe it or not, for the Titans this season. The offensive line started doing really well from like week 4 to 8. Then Lloyd Cushenberry, he's another guy we brought on, one of the top centers in the league. Um, he got injured for the year a couple games ago, but from week like 4 to 8, they didn't allow a sack. They allowed the fewest pressure rates in the NFL. They were really coming along. And it sucked that he got hurt because the offensive line, that's been the issue for the Titans the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And they really started to gel. Things started to get better. The last game, it was bad. It was bad, and they got a backup starting at right tackle, a backup starting at center. It's just not looking good right now. But J.C. Latham, the young left tackle out of Alabama, he's been great, man. He's been really, really good. Other than Joe Alt, he's probably been one of the best rookie offensive linemen in the league with tackles at least. Um, and then I mean, look, Calvin Ridley stepped it up the last couple games. He's finally started kind of, getting in a groove. Tony Pollard has been awesome. Like he's a guy that's like really put kind of the team on its back, the offense. He's a leader. I really like Tony Pollard. I like what he's done. Couple guys on defense who've really stepped it up. Like there's some rookie Jarvis Brownlee. He was like a fifth, sixth
Mm-hmm.
round pick. He's been doing well. So the draft class has been pretty good. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
other than Cedric Gray, the linebacker who's been on IR, but I mean Rand Carthon, the owner of the Titans, has done pretty good in the draft. So I feel like if you can get some pieces in there, you might be able to start winning some ball games.
Nice. So biggest need going in 2025, is it the quarterback position then in your mind?
There's so many needs, it's hard to really pinpoint one. I think that is probably the biggest. I mean, just as of right now, in right tackle, all of our two starting corners been hurt all year. Snead's been hurt. Like it's just been a crap show,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, the offensive line, the right tackle, 100%, and quarterback, and I think there's some needs. Pass rusher. We don't have a really dominant pass rush, so
Mm-hmm.
we need an edge big time.
All right. So your guys' secondary is actually really good, very stingy. Yards allowed, I think they lead
Hmm.
the NFL in fewest passing yards allowed.
Right.
What makes that group so dang good, and why are they ranked number one?
I think bringing Denard Wilson, the defensive coordinator, has done a good job. I think the yards against are kind of misleading at this moment. But I think yes, that has been a bright spot. And I think Denard Wilson has a lot to do that. He's been a DB coach for years. He's throughout the years, like he's had number one pass defenses, and I think that he's brought that same type of mentality to that secondary.
Mhm.
And you got two rookies right now starting at cornerback, so it's um for what he's done for what he's had to work with is impressive. It's just they don't get any turnovers. That's the issue. Like I think we're last in the league in turnovers on defense, defensive scoring, and it's just been the offense just stinks so bad. You got the defense on the game. It only takes a couple mistakes, and the special teams has been absolutely atrocious. I
Mm.
mean, it's been the reason. It's probably accounted for 3 losses this year in itself. Like the kick coverage, the punt coverage,
Yeah.
blocked kicks, blocked punts. It's been insane, man.
Wow. Wow. So you look at that secondary going against Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, hell, T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
How do you feel you guys stack up against that group?
Um, yeah. Um, I don't know how anybody stacks up against Justin Jefferson. Like the guy's a game changer. Like it's very rare that even a shutdown corner shuts down Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson. So I don't know, man. God bless the Titans secondary. I mean, he's going to be going up against some rookies. I haven't checked on L'Jarius Sneed. Like,
Hmm.
he's been a guy where you're like, what's going on? Like, he's not on IR. He's been out for like 3 or 4 weeks now.
Hmm.
Awuzie, who's a pretty good corner out of Cincinnati, he played for Cincinnati. He's been hurt. I would love to see Sneed playing again, just for the
Yeah.
fact that we invested so much. But yeah, man, I'm just don't have a lot of hope for this game, to be honest. Like, I want to sit here and tell you,
Hmm.
yeah, the Titans are gonna, you know, come out and they're gonna hold their own against Minnesota and all this, but I just don't see it happening. I I think we do it. We always do, right? We'll look good in the first quarter. We'll kind of keep it close, but I
Hmm.
think Minnesota's going to run away with this game. I don't think it's going to be 50-10 or anything, but I think Minnesota should be able to handle the Titans pretty fairly, easily.
You just answered my last question. Uh,
I
again,
figured
Titans
we were going
Rossi
there.
is here with the Titan Upload Networks. Links will be in the description. Go give him a sub. Check out his
Yep.
content. Absolutely fantastic. So you mentioned your offense though, but so like what? I mean, is it the run game? Is that the bright spot on the offense? I mean, what else do you got
Yeah,
going for you
it
there?
is. I mean, that's the one thing. Yes, it is. I mean, and look, Calvin Ridley has done pretty well the past couple games. Like, he is somebody you're gonna have to keep an eye on, but at the same time, like, it's just it's very slow going on offense. There's not a lot of big plays. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Ridley, he had a couple games ago where he had like 140 yards in the first quarter, but that was it. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like, um, there's just no consistency. There's no the scripted plays great. They come out with the scripted plays. I think after that, once the adjustments are made, it's just not good, you know.
mm-hmm.
Um and I think, I think Minnesota's main focus, to give some tips to the enemy, not that you need it, you could just
Mm-hmm.
probably look at the Titans stats, but I think that I think that, get pressure on Will Levis. Like, get him rattled. It's not hard with the offensive line right now because it's a patchwork offensive line. Put
Mm-hmm.
pressure on Will Levis and stop the run, and you got a good chance. I mean, Tony Pollard is the bright spot, but
Mm-hmm.
again, like, it's not like it's Derrick Henry back there. Like, it's not like it's somebody you really have to extremely worry about, where it's
Mm-hmm.
a game changer. Not to hate on Pollard, but there's just not enough complementing play around him to really, like, where it's like, oh, their run game scares you, you know?
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned, I mean, from what I could gather from what you're saying, it sounds like you think the Titans might not win this one. Do you dare want to give a prediction of the score on Sunday?
I'll give a prediction, yeah. And I've thought about this, but I mean, the positive thing for the Titans going into this game is that, I mean, Sam Darnold's been playing pretty crappy the past couple games. Like, he came out guns ablaze, and everybody in the NFL was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, like, this dude, hey, watch out!" Like,
MVP?
resurgence. It's
Oh,
redemption art. And I've watched some the Vikings here and there this season. Like, I like how they play, man. Like, they're gritty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm,
even when Darnold has played bad, like, they've somehow pulled it together here and there. And I think that's signs of a pretty darn good football team. You're 7-2. Like, you're
mm,
right behind the Lions. Like, the only thing that stinks in y'all's division, it's a great division, but the Lions got the tiebreaker. So you're really kind of 2 games down. Unless you know, y'all haven't played them twice, only once,
no, we
right?
got 'em last game of the season.
Okay, so that's probably gonna be the game, you
Yeah.
know. If you guys stay on the same track, that
Mhm.
game's could decide. I mean, I guess if you beat the Lions, it would give you the tiebreaker. I don't know, right? Or probably not. You'd still
Yeah,
be
we'll
down a game.
split, then it'll go what?
Like
Conference record? Yeah, division record. Yeah.
conference record. That's what it
Yeah.
would be.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it could be a game where you're talking about the number one seed in the NFL,
Mhm.
which is fantastic,
Yeah.
especially if you have Sam Darnold at quarterback, who's been playing above what he typically does. And you
Mhm.
got that defense. I mean, that defense, man, the turnovers you guys are producing are just phenomenal. The sacks, I mean, the defense has been really good. And I got nothing but really good things to say about the Vikings, to be honest. I'm sure their own fans have gripes and complaints, but if you're an outsider looking in, you look at our, the Titans record, and you look at what the Vikings have been doing with
Yeah.
Sam freaking Darnold at quarterback. It's like, and to his credit, man, he's thrown 17 touchdowns. And like I said, the first 4 or 5 games, dude, he set the NFL on fire. I mean, it was like, holy crap, man. And there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, man, let's look at Sam Darnold in the offseason. He's either as a bridge quarterback, something of the future. Maybe this guy can actually play in this league.
Mhm.
I don't know, what you guys think of the coaching, the play calling, or whatever else. And, but the fact that he's thrown so many interceptions in the end zone and the red zone is concerning. And I think that's what the Titans, if you're going to try and win this ball game, I think it's a bend don't break type of thing. And you hope you can catch Darnold making some mistakes.
Yeah.
And you keep the game close. Like, don't let the game get out of hand. I think I don't look, man. I really don't think there's a possibility the Titans win this game, regardless. Like, I don't see it happening. But I think it's gonna be I think it'll be like a 24-13 type of game.
Okay.
Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. I think the Titans will do some things that maybe surprise you, that do well against Darnold. Um, but I just think it's going to be that type of game where it's going to be. I don't think the Titans ever really have a clear path to winning the game. Like, I think the Vikings are going to, stay ahead of them, and it's might be close here and there, but I think the the Vikings should handle this game, and it should be a W for them.
I like it. I'm not going to argue with you on that one bit. Titans
Right?
Rossi.
Cheers, right?
Yeah. Skol. Appreciate you hopping on, taking the time. I know you've had a hectic day, so very much appreciated. Good luck Sunday.
Man.
Good luck the rest of the season. And guys, go give him a sub. Link will be in the description.
Right. And thanks for having me on. And shout out to the Vikings fans, Skol. I think that's one of the best, chants or whatever in the NFL. And we had a watch party against the Lions a couple of weeks ago. We had a ton of Lions fans in there. So we'll have a watch party this Sunday. I don't know if you guys do watch parties.
Yeah, we do. We do the primetime games, and then we do like half the normal games.
Are you doing one this Sunday?
Onebar will come on probably about third quarter. Then I usually come in about the fourth quarter.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, if you guys hop on over for a minute and say hello to us, we'll be doing a watch party for the Titans, Vikings on the Titan Upload Network. So hop on over in the chat. Tell us you're from the Onebar, and how do you say that?
Lupagus.
Lupagus. That's right. Lupagus show. Lupagus. What is Lupagus? What is that from?
Well, remember Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I took half of it.
All right. That's awesome. So, anyways, man, thank y'all so much, dude.
Thanks for hopping on.
And yeah, I hope it's a decent game,
Hell yeah.